Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good day, everybody. My name is Albert Tan, and together with Yash from Clientjoy, welcome everybody to today's what I call a Facebook Live session. And we are going to have a session like this first of what I call first Monday of every month, starting this month. And this is the first series. Today's topic is actually how to write proposal that close deals. So before we actually start the webinar or call it Facebook Live, let me do some housekeeping as usual. And guys, if you are in the Facebook group, please also give permission to this what they call a wave video so that your name and also profile photo will be shown when you are commenting on a Facebook group. But if you are viewing from this Facebook page or YouTube, then there's no need to do so. But it's also advisable that you type your name so that we know who you are, where are you coming from. So let me see how many people are here, and we have Derek Gross, Ankit Disit, and Vijay Anand. Hi, how are you guys? So and we have another maybe 7 person, but no names yet. So guys, if you are okay, please type in your name as well as also give permission to this client, not client, just give permission to wave video to show your photo and also your name while commenting. So, and today we're going to do a what I call a simple topic, but it's also very important topic. So we know that Clientjoy is an all-in-one CRM, what I call app. And one of the most important thing is when you want to sell to customer, you want to get client. Most of the time you have to write proposals. So proposal is actually one of the most important things before you get to sell something to your customer or your client. So today we have actually a founder of this Clientjoy, Yash, and he's going to tell us how to write winning proposal that closes deal. And this is the most important topic. And after that, next month, Monday, first Monday, we will have another topic, another month, another topic. And hopefully, we are going to have a series of this webinar, and we want to bring more value to our members, and hope you guys will come back, to support this Clientjoy as well as our Facebook group, Download Silo. So without further ado, Yas, the stage is for you, please.
Hey, thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you, Derek, Ankit, Vijay, Joginder, and I think 9 other people. And so once we have more people, if you can just write in your names, that would be super helpful for us. It's super motivating for us as well to do live for all of you. So are you able to see my
Yes.
screen?
Yeah, we
Awesome.
can see your screen now.
Perfect. Great. So primarily the idea is to share some of the learnings that we've had from writing dozens of proposals that we've written over the 5 year journey of scaling our own IT service agency, right? And so the goal of this conversation is how you can write proposals that essentially help you close deals, right? And so there are some tips, some classifications, categories, certain other things that you could do to make sure that your proposals are received in better light, that will help you have more mature, informative conversations with your clients as well, right? And so before we talk about writing proposals that close deal, what I typically like to do is just give you a quick background of who I am and what I'm trying to do at Clientjoy as well, so that you have some amount of context of where I am coming from, right? And so what the journey kind of has been, and what kind of sort of experience that I've had, and all of those experiences have kind of brought in the learning that I have as of now, right? So quick about me: I'm an ex-investment banker and a mechanical engineer, trying to help on a mission of helping 1 million agencies and freelancers grow, fulfill, and earn. Previously, before Clientjoy, we used to we owned and ran an IT service company, like a tech company, which is essentially a product studio, like a web product studio. We scaled that from a 2 people team to a 55 people team that built SaaS, fintech, and e-commerce web and mobile applications. Over through that journey, we won a couple of awards as well. And so currently we run Clientjoy, which is essentially a B2B SaaS product, right? And so A little around Clientjoy. At Clientjoy, we currently help about 4,000 agencies and 9,000 freelancers in 90 plus countries grow their business and manage their clients. And we help them build better client relationships and run a healthier agency business by bringing all the touch points of client lifecycle in one place, right? So starting from a visual sales pipeline with email, sequencing, scheduling, to e-signing proposals, estimates, contracts, to getting paid on time with invoices and payments, and then managing clients with a custom client portal. And we of course integrate with Zapier, Pabbly, Integromat, Integrately, Sync, Spider, which are like the usual suspects of the IFTTT world. We've got a couple of G2 badges as well. We're highly rated on Google, Capterra, and Trustpilot. We're preferred partners of Payoneer, PayPal, Stripe as well. Right? So that's a quick introduction of who I am, what my journey has been, what are we trying to do today. And so everything that I'm going to say in the next 20-25 minutes is coming from this context, is coming from this background, right? And so the first thing that I'd like to do is like to set some amount of structure to this whole presentation that we have, right? And so first we'll try to understand what is a proposal, and then we'll talk about what are the different types of proposal, what should be what looks like a good structure for a proposal, some key tips on writing great proposals, and then I've got towards the end I've got some free resources that you can just get for yourself or for your agency business as well, right? And so let's talk about proposals, but first let's try and understand why agencies need to write awesome proposals, right? And so the first key reason why agencies need to write awesome proposals is primarily because when a client or a prospect is asking for a proposal from you, they've asked the same question to 3 or 4 other agencies, right? And so you have to maintain a fine line between standing out and at the same time being comparable, and while you are maintaining that balance is the reason why you need to write awesome proposals, right? So most agency work is very, very subjective in nature. Most agency sales process is very, very subjective in nature, right? So it's not like there are a bunch of objective facts which are there in tendering process or stuff like that, right? So the first thing that we need to understand before we talk about writing proposals is who is your prospect, right? And who from your side is talking to the prospect, right? And so it's a very simple sort of a 2x2 matrix, right? So from the prospect side, you could be talking to a decision maker, or you could be talking to a contact, right? Like a person who reports to the decision maker. And then from your side, you could be the decision maker, or you could be a contact that reports to a decision maker on the agency side as well. And these 4 cards primarily explain to you as to what should you highlight in your proposals for different for different permutations and combinations of this 2x2 matrix, right? So as an example, if you are an agency owner that's talking to owner of a business who's your prospect, you want to communicate flexibility, right? And so you want to make sure that the owner of the other business understands that this is the most comfortable scenario, right? But it is not a scalable situation, but flexibility should be the highlight, right? Because that's primarily what owners of businesses care about. However, this is not scalable in nature, right? Because you will not be if you're growing, you will not be in position to write proposals for every inquiry that you get, right? And so over a period of time, as in when you start getting larger and larger clients, you will run into a situation where you as a decision maker will be talking to a contact, right, who is from the prospect side. And so that typically is their employee or the single point of contact or the team member who's in charge of making this decision, right? And so in those cases, you want to make sure that everything is written and approved and agreed upon, right? Because the contact's job is not to procure the services that are best for the business. The contact, if this particular project fails, then it will reflect poorly on that person's prospects in that organization, right? So they are trying to essentially make sure that whatever this arrangement ends up being, it does not fail, right? That's primarily what their goals and motivations and fears are. And then when you start to scale a little bit, you will essentially start moving on from the proposal writing process, and you'll have a salesperson in your organization who's writing proposals. And so if your salesperson is writing proposal to a small client where you're directly talking to the decision maker, you want to make sure that you're communicating value, right? That the contact or the proposal that the contact from your side who's writing that proposal needs to make sure that they're effectively able to communicate the value that you bring to this table. And eventuality, when you grow and then you also start to attract larger clients, your salesperson will be talking to their point of contact. And so at that point of time, the only thing that's a saving grace is essentially having strong SOPs and strong processes, right? And kind of as and when you grow, you would have already come across a lot of edge cases, and you want to try and cover as many edge cases as possible, right? And so before you send out the proposal, you want to first know as to which of these four scenarios exists as of now while you are sending the proposal. Are you as the owner talking to the owner? Are you as the owner talking to their point of contact? Are you a salesperson of an agency who's talking to the owner, or are you a salesperson of the agency who's talking to their point of contact? And then depending on that, you want to focus on these four aspects while you're sending your proposals or writing your emails or whatever the case may be, right? The next thing that I'd like to point out is that most agencies or freelancers, they fail to understand that a proposal is not a closure document, right? You don't necessarily want to write a proposal that closes right away, right? So the goal is to close the deal, but for this proposal, for the first proposal that you send out, it is essentially to make sure that both you and the prospect or the client, whoever it is that you're sending it out to, are on the same page, and your proposal should be laid out as an argument, right? And so it's primarily everything that you write in the proposal has to fulfill this requirement, right? It's an argument for how and why this particular project will be a success for that client if this proposal is accepted, right? So everything that you write, so all the case studies that you choose to put in, or all the even the pricing that you put in, or the kind of team members that you are going to put on this project, or the size and scope of the project that you've written out, even the testimonials and the social proofing, whatever it is that you put, it has to contribute to this primary argument, why and how this project will be a success for that client if this proposal is accepted, right? It has to follow this argument, right? It is not necessarily that it is a closure document, right? And so there are primarily, we'll now move on to understanding different types of proposals. And so there are primarily three different types of proposals. There are formally solicited proposals, which is typically what you'll get from very large organizations or governments in some case, which are called RFX, which is request for X, which could be a request for quote, a request for proposal, or request for information. And so creating a proposal basis a lot of information that has been given to you by a very, very large organization, right? The second one is unsolicited, right? Which is essentially just creating sort of a base proposal that applies to all of your prospects as well, and then just reaching out to those client and offering your services, right? And so you'll see a lot of times this kind of come in as well, where a proposal would come in saying, hey, hire dedicated PHP developers for let's say $2,000 a month or $5,000 a month or something like that, or they'll be like, let us allow you to fix your SEO for $500 a month and stuff like that. So those are completely unsolicited proposals. And then the middle one, or the third one, which is primarily what we are going to talk about today, and which is typically 90% of the proposal sending that you do, is informally solicited, right? Which is basically you're creating a proposal basis a couple of conversations that you had with a prospect, right? And so that could be again a decision maker or a point of contact, but you've created a proposal basis a couple of conversations, right? So they also do not have their requirements absolutely clear. You also don't completely understand those requirements, but there is a general agreement that you think that both of you, the client and your agency or your freelancing practice, will be able to work together and generate favorable results for each other, right? And so this is what we are going to be talking about. Just by the way, a side note: if you are doing this, and I hope you're not, but if you're doing this, please stop doing this, right? It devalues your agencies like anything, right? So please don't do unsolicited proposals, like cold outreach with the proposal itself. Now let's look at what are the three main aspects or structure of a proposal, right? And so since you're making an argument and the story, it needs a structure. And the whole key thing is to make this structure, make this story about them. And so the first aspect is an introduction, right? And so introduction is just your title, table of contents, introduction statement, and executive summary, followed by overview, which is where you share what you've understood about this project, what you think the scope of work is, where you show what similar work have you done previously. You share some caveats as well. You share what the pricing is, which should not be portrayed as cost, but it should be portrayed as investments. And the conclusion is primarily where you talk about how will you know whether this project was a success or not, right? And so you identify those success metrics. What could be the next steps if everything looks okay? What could be the next steps? And then finally the closure sort of an argument, right? And so we'll talk about introduction statement, caveats, and success metrics a little in detail over here as well, right? And so let's talk about the introduction statement, right? So this typically is half a page or a page long. It's very, very spacious, and you've kind of chosen to play with the design a little bit, and it should have less amount of copy or content, but then it explains clearly what you understood about your potential clients' requirements and their goals, right? So I've also we run a separate channel on YouTube called The Agency Advocate by Clientjoy, and I'd also recommend you to check that out if and when you get time. Just we recently released a video around doing consultative sales, which is where we talk about asking them three key questions, right? So you can ask them a lot of questions, but ultimately finding answers to these three key questions: where are they today? Where do they want to go? And what is stopping them from getting there, right? So if in your first couple of conversations you have a general idea of answers to these three key questions, you'll be able to very, very clearly explain in your introduction statement what you understood about their requirements and goals, right? The second part of the introduction statement is underscoring similar work that you've done previously and how you were able to achieve success, right? So talk about similar clients that you had and what kind of work or relationship that you had, even if you currently have. And the third is mention some of the challenges that you see both from your side and the client side that might come up in the near future, right? So a lot of times the reason why the client is coming to you is because they're facing a problem and they have a challenge of finding a person who is high skilled or skilled enough to fix that problem, right? And that's primarily why they are reaching out to you. And so the only way for you to be able to close that deal is if you're able to establish trust. And establishing trust means having to lay out everything on the table before you start working together, before you start working with each other as well, right? Just give me 1 second. I actually have really bad throat, and so like a couple of times during this presentation, I just pause and mute myself just to make sure that my throat is clear.
Yeah, got a glass of water beside you.
I have, but it would end up making it worse. So I just have it later on when we are taking up questions.
Okay.
So the second thing that I want to talk about is caveats, right? So make sure that whenever you are making any promise, that promise is being taken in correct context, right? Because a lot of times you will make certain assumptions that this is something that is super basic and the client would already know that, but that is not necessarily true, right? The clients will also, so everybody is the center of their own universe, right? And so they have their own fundamental beliefs and premises and assumptions, and then you have your own as well. And your job while you are writing caveats as a part of your proposal is to make sure that you're absolutely clear on all the promises that are being made, right? Just as an IT service company, we would, just as an example, we would clarify that all the products. So if we are building a product for you, we would specifically clarify that all the product copies, like email, the email copy, the email content, the validation error content, or even the empty state template content, and all of that will be given by the client, right? We don't have in-house copywriters, and so they will have to do that. Another example is to explain to them what happens if one of your team members who's working on this project goes on an unanticipated leave, right? And so what plan do you have in place? Another example is explain the difference. So let's say if you're a tech agency, explain to them the difference between a bug and a change request, right? So if you run a tech agency, you'll understand that almost none of your clients understand this difference, and they would typically think of things as bug when they're actually a change request, right? And so clarify what those terms mean and what promises are being made as well. The last aspect of the structure of the proposal is clearly identifying success metrics, right? And so you want to know. So typically, what happens is that when you're sending out the first proposal, when you're sending out proposal for the first time that you're working with a client, they will work with you for a short project, which could be, let's say, a couple of months. And then if they like the work that is happening, then they'd want to move on to some sort of a recurring engagement of sorts, right? So you want to make sure then the first, so actual sales happens after you close the first proposal, right? So after you've closed the first project, actual sales begins for the next 3 months, right? So for the next 3 months, the kind of interaction that you're having with them will define whether you'll be able to convert that client into a recurring client of yours or not. And when you're sending that first proposal, when you're just engaging with that client, you want to clearly identify that in case what metrics are hit, that will define that this project was a success, right? And so clearly identify those outcomes as well. And so also when you're identifying them, success metrics should be 100%, should be 100% in your control, right? So it cannot be a shared responsibility. So as an example, when we were an IT service company, our success metric would be reduction in app crashes or faster load times of app or lesser reporting of bugs, right? So these are some of the things that were 100% in our control. Another example of what success metrics were not 100% in our control are number of signups or active users, right? Because it depends on how much are they investing in growth efforts and so on and so forth, right? So clearly identify outcomes that can be categorized as success metrics and make sure that those success metrics are 100% in your control as well, right? Now that we've got like some amount of structure in place, we'll move on to proposal writing tips, right? And so there are three, and we'll talk about being ROI centric for a little more. So the first one is and this is to be very simple. While you want to position yourself as an expert in the field that you operate in, being positioned as an expert is like using jargons to be positioned as an expert is a bad way to go about it, right? If your customer does not understand certain terms that you're using, then replace them with easier terms, right? So you will have plenty of time to position yourself as an expert, and you can use a lot of other proofing systems to position again yourself as an expert. Using jargons is not a great way. The second thing is when you're writing the proposal, be relatable, right? And so talk as much as possible about their problems and how you will be able to solve them, or how have you solved them before as well, right? So imagine that when your prospect is going through your proposal, like just imagine them reading your proposal and then just nodding, right? So each and every sentence that you've written in the proposal, they should agree with that sentence, right? And so that will only come if the proposal is very relatable, right? And the last one is be ROI centric, right? So don't talk about your efforts. Efforts should only be talked about when you are figuring out the pricing for that project. For everything else, you talk about the benefits that this will render to them, and make sure that you do that in numbers as well. And this is again kind of tied to the success metrics that you're also defining. And so being ROI centric primarily means that you want to understand what they are trying to achieve, which is what their goal is. And then you identify the aspect of their goal that is 100% in your control, and then make that as a success metric or metric for your ROI, and make it a part of your proposal. So for example, instead of proposing effort of, let's say, X hours per month at a rate of $Y per hour, start proposing how you will ensure faster deployments or robust processes, and billing can still happen as per status quo, right? So when you're arriving at the pricing, it can still be based on effort. However, when you're proposing, you always want to talk about the benefits and how those benefits help them achieve their goal or move towards achieving their goal, right? And so here are some just couple of other tips, which is avoid generalizations. Don't talk about their market or their industry it's a fair assumption to make that they understand their market and their industry better than you could. Make the proposal spacious. Use a lot of white and high contrast design. It is visually appealing. Make as little things appear on the screen as possible. It reduces the cognitive load. So please don't write content like, please don't write like 300 words or 500 words on a page, right? That's very difficult to read. If anything can be created as a card or a bullet, put that, right, instead of writing an essay of sorts. Another thing is there are no marks for long answers. We've got to value their time, so please be brief. And then the last one is offer them options and highlight which one do you recommend for them. And let's explore this a little bit as well, right? Which is primarily there could be multiple models of engagement, right? And so talk to them about the fixed cost or the time and material, and explain to them which one is better for them at this stage and why. And if they're inclined towards a choice that you do not prefer, then show them a roadmap of when this choice will become viable for this project as well, right? And so you want to position yourself as an expert while you're having these conversations, and all of these conversations you just want to base on your past experiences with other clients, right? You just want to kind of talk about that and lean on the experience that you have when you're trying to convince them to take up an option that you prefer they choose, right? The last but one thing I would say about proposals is that best proposals are comparable, right? And so this is one place where you don't necessarily need to stand out of all of your competitors. So like imagine that you are looking for agencies and you have 5 or 4 different proposals that have come from all of these 4 or 5 agencies. If I have a proposal that is that looks very beautiful and that stands out, but if I have no way of comparing that with other 4 proposals that I have, then it makes things super difficult for me, right? And we don't want to make things difficult for the client, right? And so make sure that while you try to stand out, certain aspects or certain elements of your proposals are comparable. So look at what your competitors are sending out as proposals, what are the typical industry best practices that they follow, and what are standard items as a part of their proposal, and then try and include those in your proposals as well, so that when a client is making a decision, when they have 3, 4, 5 proposals laid out in front of them, they are able to do an apples to apples comparison, right? And so don't completely create your own yardstick, right? You want to align a little bit with your competitors as well, and those proposals are really, really cool. And so I've received and I've sent 1-page proposals. I've 60 slide proposals that just go on endlessly talking about their previous use cases and test cases, and I've sent out and received heavily designed proposals, and just pure play templatized proposals, and so on and so forth, and so even like completely custom built proposals for us as well. And those things only work if other people are also sending similar proposals. So just wanted to kind of as far as proposals are concerned, kind of sort of leave you with that thought, right? Another thing that I'd also kind of ask you to consider is that if you have your proposal game sort of jot down or really well done, then you might want to also focus on reducing your turnaround times, right? And it is essentially the time it takes, the time your prospect takes from the time that they show interest in your services to them making the first payment, right? And so here are some of the 3 things that you could do. So the first one is use templates, right? Implement merge fields and items so that it easily track the proposals or the documents that you've sent out. So as soon as you get a notification saying that a client or a prospect has viewed your proposal, that's the perfect time for you to send out a follow-up. Automate your follow-up as well, so you don't have to manually go ahead and follow up every time. And the third is e-sign, right? If you're into physical signatures still, then just come join us in this century and e-sign the proposals that you send out as well. As it might not be a surprise for you, you can do all of that on Clientjoy as well. But I'm going to talk about resources, right? And so we've got completely free resources on clientjoy.io/universe, which is essentially a centralized curated free resource library. You'll get things like 150 plus cold email templates, 300 plus Excel sheet templates, 700 plus PPT templates, 420 plus social media post ideas, 100 plus invoice templates, and so on and so forth. You'll also find 25 plus proposal templates over there as well. And we've got about 15 odd resources that you can grab for free, just head over at a time of your convenience. Just head over to clientjoy.io slash universe, and you'll find all of them listed, right? And I'll just quickly take about 2 minutes of your time to talk about how Clientjoy can help reduce your turnaround times by 18% and improve conversion rates by 10% as well. And so it helps you manage your sales pipeline very, very visually, so you never let opportunities fall through the cracks. It essentially gets and helps you get your quotes and proposals and contracts e-signed, and so you can send out templatized and impactful proposals that your clients can sign and you can track as well. You've got audit trails, you've got different templates, you've got e-signing features as far as proposals, contracts, quotes, and estimates are concerned. You can also create email templates and sequences, so that you are able to, you don't have to follow up, and for, as you might already know, fortune lies in follow-up. So just create your follow-up email sequence and then just schedule it. You can create your scheduler and booking engine and then embed it on your website or offer a link so that your clients can book your calendar without you having to kind of play email ping pong to figure out a time. We also offer custom client portal to for clients, which can be hosted on your domain, can carry your logo, works with 1,000+ applications including Figma, Trello, Asana, Google Analytics, Miro, Notion, Airtable, Loom, Canva, YouTube. You can embed all of that and essentially create a great client portal experience for your clients as well. You can manage clients and their activities also. You can share files. You can see what they've been doing. You'll always get paid on time because you'll be able to raise one-time split or recurring invoices with payment links as a part of Clientjoy itself, and you can schedule automated reminders so you never have to manually follow up. And Clientjoy is currently available for at a lifetime deal for $129 per user for life. The idea primarily being that sum of parts is greater than parts of the sum, and we have measured an ROI of $8.71 for every dollar invested in the first year itself. And since you are a part of the download silo community, you get 15% off. Just use the code download silo and you'll be able to get 15% off on whatever purchase that you're making, right? And I think that's pretty much it. I'd encourage you to join our community as well, which is on facebook.com/group/clientjoy. It's a place where you've got about 1,200 odd agency owners and freelancers to talk about their business and their questions that they have. And we also run a podcast that you can check out on anchor.fm. Just search for Clientjoy, the agency show, and you'll be able to find that. So that's primarily it from my side. Albert, hope this was helpful. Would love to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay, thank you, Yash. This is actually quite interesting, So show my face.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, there are some questions to be answered. But
Sure.
before we go into the question and answer from the audience, I would like to ask a few questions as well.
Sure.
So a lot of people actually confused about quotation versus proposal. So can you elaborate on that? I mean, based on your experience and also your understanding.
Sure. So quotations are so there are three things. You have quotes, estimates, proposals, and contracts, right? So contracts primarily define how both of these organizations are going to engage with each other, right? So they talk about the scenarios that could happen in the future and what each and every party who is entering into the contract, what they are responsible for, what they are liable for, and so on and so forth. So that's primarily what a contract is. And then we move to quotes, estimates, and proposals, which is a category in and of itself. So the first case is the simplest ones are quotes. And so quotes come into the place when the price is industry standard or fine or kind of final, right? So let's say if I'm coming to you and asking you to let's say, or let's say if you're coming to me and asking me to fix certain nails in your house, right? Or like build 3 or 4 frames for the photographs that you have, then there's no subjectivity involved, right? Then I know the price, I'll send that this is the quote, and then if you like the quote, great. If you like me, great, and we'll start to work together. The second one is estimates. Estimates are used in cases where the prices are finalized, but the scope might change a little bit over a period of time. So as an example, if you ask me to paint your house, then as a service provider, I'll send out an estimate. I'll come to your place, I'll take the measurements, and I'll make an estimation. And then I'll send across an estimate saying that, hey, this is what I think it's going to cost. The end cost can be, let's say, 10% plus or minus of what I initially estimated for you. And so the price could change a little bit. Proposals are the most important ones, right? So as you might have noticed the pattern in terms of quotes and estimates, the decision primarily depends on the agency and the pricing. But in case of proposals, there are 3, 4, 5 different variables that come into play as well. So as an example, if I'm going to paint your house, you don't need to, since it's a commoditized service, you don't need to know whether I can paint a house or not, right? You typically trust me that I'll be able to paint a house because it's a commoditized service. But if I have to do a website for you, or if I have to build a mobile application for you, or if I have to do SEO for you, then the decision is a lot more subjective, right? Then the question is also not just on me or on the price, but it is also on my skill set and the work that I've done previously, and so on and so forth, right? And so proposals are the most subjective of them all, where you have 4 or 5 different variables basis which the decisions are being made. So that's the difference between contracts, proposals, quotes, and estimates.
Okay, thank you. Because you go in a little bit detail on a different kind of maybe a quotation, estimate, as well as a proposal. In my opinion, it depends on what type of industry you are
Correct.
in. Some industry you don't have to write a long-winded proposal,
Yeah.
So you just have to need a 1-page or 2-page code. That's it, All my
that's good
proposal
enough.
is actually inside that,
Yeah.
So, but I believe a lot of our audience or maybe LTD buyers are actually agencies, maybe their web agency or some kind of other agencies. So proposal they actually come to play in a very important role,
Yeah.
So I believe that writing a good proposal is something not so easy, To write a winning proposal is something based on experience, Sometimes you have to vary your proposal tone as well as your content after talking to your client, because some clients are very what they call savvy. They know everything about their work or your work. So you have to be, really to stand out, that kind of thing. So this is what I experienced. So, okay, don't worry. Let's go to the question and answer, and we will see who asked some question. Okay, let me. Yeah, maybe you also have to go to the live chat there, the right hand side, because you only it's truncated.
Sure. So I think this one is from Pranav. Just give me 1 second. So a client demand a detailed 30-page strategy. It takes about 2 people to spend up to 7 days to come up with this. 80% of the time the clients don't convert. What do you suggest to do? It's a great question, Pranav. Primarily, so what in this case, a lot of times what might happen is that the client is looking for someone else to think on their behalf, right? And so what you want to do is that what this is something that we would do as well, is to essentially charge for writing the proposal, and then if they end up converting, then you write that off in the main amount, right? So as an example, you could charge, let's say, and it's got to be a token amount, right? It's not necessarily the full cost that you are going to include. So you don't want to charge for 2 people who are spending 7 days each. You don't want to quote for that, but you'll say, hey, pay me $200 for writing this proposal for you, and I'll get back to you. And then if we end up working together, I'll give you $200 off on the final price, right? That's a great way to go about it. But you don't do this for free, right? So you don't put in 14 man days of effort in doing strategy for the client completely for free. That's just not. I would recommend writing a proposal before that for writing the proposal, right? So that's what I'd recommend to you.
The issue is sometimes the customer do not know what they want. So after talking to you, I say I want this, tomorrow when you talk to them, I want this also, and they want everything. But the moment you tell them the price, they don't want everything. Okay. So I mean, this is something that a dilemma that people do face. So, but I agree with you. If somebody say that they want you to do some work, background work, to do some research or whatever, I mean, it has to be some token, unless you know that this is something that you are sure to get, that kind of things, So or else you're wasting your 7 days, don't know how many man hours, then you come to nothing, and they just give the proposal
Yeah.
to another vendor. Please quote
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. That happens all the time.
Okay, let's answer the second question. This is not a question. This is a statement,
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for the kind words. I mean, I agree with this. So yeah. Vijay says sometimes clients take a long time to approve even after requirements have been discussed in detail. How to avoid this? So fairly simple. This is not as far as the proposals are concerned, but this is where we are going a little into the lead qualification sort of a category, right? And so lead qualification you do on so before you start writing your proposals, you want to qualify your leads, and those are on 4 criteria, which is called BANT, right? Which is budget, authority, need, and time. And so when you're having a conversation with them, you want to try and figure out by asking them different questions, not directly, but asking them different questions as to what their budget is, whether you're talking to the correct authority who's also the decision maker, whether they need your services or not. A lot of times prospect might reach out to you thinking that you are in a position to help them, but there's not a good fit and you already know that. And then the fourth one is time. Do they need your services now? Right. And so what you want to make sure is that when you're qualifying those leads before writing the proposals, you know that all these 4 criteria are settled. They have the budget, you're talking to the correct person, they have the need of your services, there's a good fit, and this is the correct time to reach out to them or not as well. And so now let's say a qualified lead sort of comes in, and then you send out a proposal, and then they take a long time to approve even the requirements or something like that. So the solution to this is there's no way you can follow up or you can accelerate things from the client side, right? So a good way to do this is primarily to have a very healthy sales pipeline, right? That you're not dependent on this particular client or this particular prospect to convert for your future cash flow. Now, any move that you're making on your side, you want to make sure that you're keeping this prospect in the loop. So you're just, so let's say if Albert is that prospect, if I'm getting another project and if my bandwidth is going away, then I'll make sure that Albert knows that, hey, I'm getting another project and this is what's been happening on my side as well. And so we'll be moving on from this project. We will not be able to work on this project. But the only solution to this is to have a very, very healthy sales pipeline. So qualify them first. And then if they take more time, then move on to other projects. Please remember that you as an agency are not limited by the market that you have. The market is very, very big. You're only limited by the scope of services that you can offer. So you're limited by the size and scope of your own company. So if you have 15 people, then you can only do so much, right? So whatever amount of output that you can produce. So that's the limiting factor and not the market size.
Mm-hmm. Okay, since you are coming into this proposal, suddenly something pop up in my mind. Mm-hmm. Okay, writing proposal is also an art. Sometimes, do you think that just do a presentation, kind of a proposal is better, or maybe a full write-up is better?
So I would. So it depends on the sort of services that you're offering and the kind of clients that you have as well. So I'll pick up different scenarios, right? So in cases where everything needs to be very well defined, right? So as an example, if you're an IT service company where you want to define each and everything, right? How many modules are there, how many features are there, and so on and so forth. You typically want to do a full write-up sort of a proposal where there's no scope for misunderstanding. However, for cases where things are a little subjective and fluid in nature, so let's say if I'm doing UI UX for your product, right? If I'm doing designs, then in those cases, PPTs that have less content and more of design sort of an architecture or presentations that are able to communicate the value that you'll bring to the table versus the scope of work, that those are typically preferable. And the other, I just want to kind of make a note on like a side note as well on the proposal thing, right? And so this is another thing that I firmly believe, that writing proposals is a practice, right? And so you remember, you must know this already, right? Okay, doctors never ever have a job, lawyers never have a job, doctors, lawyers, all of them practice, right? Because there's no uh, there's no end point where you can come and say that I am the best doctor, right? And or I've learned everything that is to be learned. Or you cannot become a lawyer that knows everything about law. So you always practice law, and you always practice being a doctor. And similarly, you also practice writing proposals, right? And so you improve over a period of time.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, Sibu Sahu, yeah, he is
Yeah,
talking about cosmetic kind of
yeah,
proposal. Do we need
yeah.
to do a lot about this thing?
So I am of the thought process that decorating a proposal is not going to close it for you, or not going to be the kind of change agent that you're looking for, right? So you just want to make sure that when you're sending out a proposal, it follows basic design principles, right? Which is in terms of, you should not have a bright blue background with red fonts on top of it, right? So you should not do that. You should not write things in Comic Sans,
Mhm.
right? And so stuff like that. So just very basic stuff. Have a very clear visual hierarchy in terms of everything that you are writing as well. Use bullets as much as possible. Keep it spacious. Instead of have as better contrast as possible. So use pastel colors and stuff like that. But heavily designed proposals, in my experience, I've not seen them convert better than very simple, basic principled proposals as well.
Okay, in my opinion, I mean, it helps, if a very well documented and decorated kind
Yeah,
of proposal give you a very, what I call a good impression to the customer.
yeah,
Yeah, you think that,
yeah,
oh, your company is actually, what they call attention to details and
yeah,
do the right thing. Of
yeah,
course, you would like to avoid, a very shady kind of non-formatted kind of proposal, that kind of thing.
yeah,
It's a no. So I think people have to strike a balance, because
yeah.
I mean, if you are writing a $1 billion proposal, then something is very
Then
important.
yeah,
But
it is
you are
absolutely
writing
important in those
a few
cases.
$100 proposal, then
Yeah,
I think you know what to do. Okay,
yeah,
so let's
yeah,
move to the next question. Yeah, so Sibu Sahu was just telling us that, they try to match the prospect
hmm,
brand color,
yeah,
team logo. I think sometimes we don't have to overdo that, because sometimes
yeah,
it take a lot of time, hours and
yeah,
hours to match that.
yeah. So Sibu, if you've been able to templatize this, if this does not take a lot of time for you to do, you could try doing that, and see if conversion rates are different. But if it takes you significant amount of time, please don't invest that much amount of time.
Okay, Pranuti, this question is very long, so can you just
Okay.
read on the chat?
Sure. So Pranati says, I used to run an IT solutions company, and my biggest challenge used to be to understand a client's requirement and make a detailed scope of work document out of it, which involves product requirement documentation, modules to be created, their respective features. It takes about a week to make their entire SOW, only to realize that now the client has a detailed SOW that the client shall share with other companies to get a quote. This is exactly what Pranav was also talking about, right? How do I escape from creating detailed SOW and also not reduce my chances to convert the client? So this happens a lot, as Albert also mentioned, that they'll get you to create an SOW and then use that SOW to get quotes from other agencies. We ourselves have prepared a lot of SOWs, and we have received a lot of SOWs that were prepared by other agencies also to give quotes, right? And so we've been on both sides of that table. This happens a lot. And so what you typically want to do is, as I shared earlier in Pranav's question as well, charge them a token amount to do the SOW work for them, and then promise to give that as essentially a write off if and when you end up working together, right, over a period of time. The other thing that I would also say is that if you're running an IT service, then what you want to do, and this is very specific for IT service, it does not have anything to do with sales or proposals, but what you typically want to do is that you want to write down parts of SOWs that are going to stay consistent, right? So as an example, the modules for sign up, login, social signups, change password, settings area, admin area, user roles and rights, all of these don't change a lot, right? And they apply to all IT products more often than not. And so you just want to kind of create a separate documentation for that. That will also help you create documentations faster.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Yeah.
Let's move to,
Yeah.
okay, this is Pranuti.
Yeah. Small and medium businesses, 90% of these businesses do not have an SOW available. And I don't want to not take up their requirement, because that might be, yeah, fair. Absolutely. So the same thing, charge them a little bit upfront, and then, and see what they say also. Right. And so what
Yeah.
their response is also going to be.
Yeah, because sometimes, as I said earlier, some customer are very smart. they want you to write a SOW so that they can use that to ask other competitor to code. And
Yeah,
sometimes they also learn something from you guys, so
yeah,
because they don't know about a lot of things about maybe web designing, so looking at your web designing proposal,
yeah,
so they know a little bit more, then they will
yeah,
start asking question on other competitor, that kind of thing. So
yeah,
I mean, we just have to deal with it.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, this is a compliment from Larry Tan.
Thank you, Larry, uh, for sharing this.
Okay, this is also a long question. You have to read it
Yeah,
in the.
I read it out. So, as a freelancer, it often gets difficult for me to have a similar past work or portfolio to whoever I'm trying to pitch. How do I make up for my lack of experience? Because it always becomes a chicken and egg situation for me. To have more past work, I need more clients. In order to convert more clients, I need similar past work, and so on and so forth. So, here's a this happens with everyone, and so the best way to solve this is one, like the first thing that you have to do is just be a little lucky and get your first client, right? So if you're able to get your first client with some amount of luck, or partner up with other agencies, or use your network to get some amount of work. Once you get that work, you start looking for clients who are looking for similar work, right? So instead of reaching out to anyone and everyone, so I'll give you a very simple example. So let's say that you as a freelancer, let's say you're a graphic designer, right? And you've done social media posts for like, let's say you did social media posts for your first client. Now, if the next client wants you to design assets for their website, and you've not done asset for other websites before, then you'll run into this situation. What I'm recommending to you is that the client number two has to be where they're looking for graphics on their social media. And then client number three also has to be a similar one. And then start pitching to client number three if you can also try and contribute towards their website as well. And then if that ends up happening, then you start a separate sort of a tree on acquiring more clients for the website as well, and so on and so forth, right? So instead of trying to find past work that doesn't exist for an inquiry that you have, you want to reach out to clients who are looking for people, or who are looking for getting work done that you've done previously.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Let's answer this Larry Tan's question about pricing, about
yeah,
adding another admin user.
yeah. So user, can we consider a better price to add admin users, for example 50% off the main user, or something? Larry, thank you for this question. I am not a great person to answer this question because I don't look after pricing. So what I would recommend is that you already have download silo for 15% off. If you get two users, we already give you a 5% off, right? So it's 129 into 2, like has 5% off on that. Already get 15% off on that. So that's essentially like 20% off already on the second user. But as far as pricing is concerned, I've been strictly asked by my team to not say anything. I've already said enough over here. So what I would recommend is that if you can just reach out to our support, on our chat on the website or in app, and Tanmay from our team, or someone from our team will be able to help you out with your requirements.
Yes, maybe your question should be, how many more users do you want?
How many
Let's
more?
negotiate.
You see?
I always ask,
Yeah,
if you can give me more user, if you want more user,
yeah,
more user, I
more
can
users.
always
Yeah,
give you the best price.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay, that's a joke. But I think it's also in reality, sometimes we do
Yeah,
give some discount if they have a volume buyers.
yeah, yeah. Oh no, we
Okay.
already have. So just to clarify, if you add a third user, we give you 10% off on total. If you add fourth user, we give you 15% off. If you add five users, we give you 20% off on the total, plus the download silo discount coupon code as well, right? So that is something we already have on the website.
Okay, this is a statement and a compliment.
Oh wow! Hey Derek, thank you for attending this session. It was a pleasure delivering this as well.
Okay, Larry
Yes.
Tan is talking about takeaway. He's writing notes.
Yeah, yeah, this is absolutely correct. Write a short proposal for the proposal that you're going to write, for which you need to get paid for. I think this is also a reply to Pranothi's comment, or to I think someone else's. I'm forgetting the name. Their comment.
Okay. And VJ Anand is okay.
Yeah,
This
he's
is
a,
to
yeah.
qualifying question, you know.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have created a 7-minute video on how can you qualify your leads. So I would recommend you just head over to YouTube, search for Clientjoy, go to our channel, and then you will see a video fairly easy to find. We've only done 12, 13 videos so far. So fairly easy to find. Just look for how to qualify leads for your agency, and you'll be able to see that 7-minute video, which is where I talk about the questions that you can ask and how you can ask them and stuff like that as well.
Okay, I think we should. I mean, if you have time, you should go to the YouTube and check it out. You know.
I'll, yeah.
Okay, let's. And I have two more. Not question. This is kind of a statement, you know. Chaitanya. So
Really an informative session. Thank you. And strategic session. Thank you for organizing, Albert and Yash, for the tips and tricks. Thank you, Chaitanya, for attending. I hope this was helpful. Yash, this is one of your best webinars I joined. Well explained. Hey, Sujit, thank you. Thank you, Sujit. I hope to do better. We've got 4 more to go in the next 4 months, and I hope to do better. I'll try and do better than this as well.
yeah, I mean, with these words of encouragement, you know, I think Yas will be more motivated, you know, to improve the next
Yeah.
what I call content, you know, webinar. You
Yeah.
know, so what maybe you can give us a teaser. What is the next webinar all about?
So, we've got essentially 4 different options, right? So we could talk about. So let's ask. So that was essentially going to be my question for today as well. And so I have. I figured out 4 topics to talk about, and then wanted a topic suggestion from everyone. So the other 4 topics are how to generate leads. The second one is how to manage your clients, or client management 101. The third one is how to make sure that you get paid on time, right? And so I already have these 3 sort of topics that, and the fourth one being consultative selling, right? How to do consultative selling, what is and how to do consultative selling. So these 4 I already have, and so let's ask them which one do they want next, and we talk about that. And then I have another question prepared as well, as we discussed, Albert,
Okay,
earlier in the call.
so this question Yas going to ask will determine the winner of today's giveaway. So guys, please listen very carefully, and we will choose the best answer, you know, by Yas, you
Yeah.
know. So Yas, you want to tap it out or you want to just say it out?
Oh, I just say it out.
Okay.
So there are total 5 topics, right? So the first topic is how to write proposals that close deals, which is what we did today. The second one is how to generate leads. The third one could be how to manage your clients. The fourth one could be how to make sure that you get paid on time. The fifth one could be how and why you should do consultative selling. Apart from these 5, one of which we've done, and the 4 which we are going to do, what other topic would you want me to do for you guys in the community?
That
If you can, yeah,
okay. So just choose a topic that is relevant to CRM, no,
yeah,
and if Yas choose your topic, you are the winner, right?
yeah, yeah. That's
Okay,
that's the
simple.
idea.
Yeah, guys, go ahead. Giving demos.
Giving demos. Which is saying that we should do something on giving demos. Sibu's
Vijay, yeah.
devoted for consultative selling. So Sibu, we are already going to do one on consultative selling. But what could be other topics that we could also talk about? This one is a thinker, right? Because I've
New
also thought
new
about this
new
for a while.
topics, you know, guys.
Yeah,
Not
new
old topics.
topics. Building a perfect portfolio of our recent projects. Oh, nice. That's a good one, Chaitanya. Thank you for recommending that.
Okay, guys, we need more answers, you know, or else those who answer first will get the prize.
Yeah,
Okay.
Larry is a great one, right? How to ask right questions for a winning proposal. I think that's a good topic as well. Yeah.
This is by Chaitanya. This is by
Yeah.
Larry Tan.
Yeah.
This is by Vijay Anand.
Yeah. How to give demos to impress clients. Latif says just video proposals. So I'm guessing how to create video proposals. Ashish is saying I would like to share insights on how to reach out to a client of which some other agency is already doing marketing. Oh wow, how to push an agency, competitor out, and then move in. Ashish, is that what you're talking about? Sibu says how to steal quotations and proposals of my competitors and quote better. Sujit talks about what are the thing, what are the things we should consider before accepting a client. Oh wow, that's a good one, Sujit. Thank you for that. Larry says getting into the mind of your client, how to create a proposal that speaks your client's mind. Um, and that's a nice one. Chaitanya says the role of ads and testimonials in getting new clients, building testimonials. Got it. So Ashish agrees with my understanding of his previous comment. So that's interesting.
Okay, so you have some.
These are good. These are good topic suggestions.
The role of ads and testimonial is getting new client.
Yeah.
I mean, testimonial has been actually very, very powerful, So that's why you have a lot of this app, like for example, like right now we have giving me review or something like that. There's one app in AppSumo or maybe. Okay, there's another question. Not question, another proposal.
No, this is essentially like topic suggestions. How can I check a client's payment history? So, like, I think when they say payment history, I think what Sibu means is credit score, right? So, how can I check a client's credit score before negotiating payment terms, right? And Vijay says how to ensure we address the pain points of clients in our proposals.
This is a good one.
Yeah, really nice.
To create a persona of your ideal client or whatever, to create a persona.
Yeah. And then Larry again says the 10 unspoken but deadly pitfalls of proposal writing. Oh wow. That's a good one.
This can write a thesis.
Yeah, this is a book in and of itself, right? So Sivu says how to convince my clients to pay 100% advance. Oh wow. If I knew how to do that, right? So this is a question that I don't have answer to. This is a topic that I won't be able to talk about because I've tried and I've tried really, really hard, but I've never been able to convince my client to pay 100% in advance. So great topic suggestion. Albert, if you have, yeah.
This question is actually very simple to answer. Ask the airline. The airline get money first before you before you get paid.
Yeah.
Okay, another question, another topic.
Harry says how to get the ultimate why should the client give you the deal. Well, that's nice. Chaitanya says how to attract our first client to build our portfolio in the beginning if we have not yet started working. That's a question that a lot of people have for sure. It's a question that a lot of people have.
So you have a lot of topics, So
Yeah.
hard to decide.
I think I have a winner. Is it so? How do I go about it?
You just choose the question and which other person that will project it up.
Oh, okay. Just give me 1 second. There's a lot of things. I'm just scrolling. Okay, just 1 second. Result of proposal. No, not this one. Just give me 1 second. I think this is a good one, right? The one that Larry said, which is how to ask the right questions for winning a proposal, is a really nice one.
Okay, where is it now? Okay, this is the one.
Yeah.
Okay, how to ask the right question for a winning proposal.
Yeah.
So, Larry Tan, you won the LTD giveaway. Congratulations. Oh, I don't know why Yash was offline.
I think no, I'm not offline. I'm.
Oh, you went for a break?
No. I'm here. I'm right here.
But your camera, there's nobody there.
Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second.
Okay, no problem.
Let me just figure out the camera.
How to streamline your proposal creating process. Mm-hmm. Quite a good suggestion. How to finalize the requirement. Larry Tan, why you, why me, why now? It is a song or is it a lyrics or what?
Yeah.
Hey, thank you very much for selecting additional plus option to my giveaway account. Of course, why not?
Hey, are you able to see me now?
Yeah, seeing you now.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Okay, so Larry Tan is the winner. So
Yeah.
congratulations. And yeah, he just asking this question. Do you see that? You want to
Yeah,
add
awesome. Thank you
additional
very much for selecting me. Can I add additional user and branding plus option to my giveaway account? Great question. I will have to again redirect you to Tanmay from our team, who essentially makes all the pricing decisions. But we will be able to figure it out. Please don't worry, Larry.
Okay, so that's all we have. Congratulations, Larry. And before we end this webinar, I would like to say thank you to everybody who stay up, until now, listen to our Yash, from Clientjoy,
Yeah.
to talk
Yeah.
about, how to write winning proposal for your client. So with that, I will say thank you again to Yash, and also the audience. So for what I call attending this webinar, and please be reminded that we will have this webinar again for the next few weeks, which is actually happening will be on the first Monday of the month. So the next
Yes.
webinar will be November, the first Monday, unless we change the date, Okay.
Yeah.
So, Yas, do you have anything to tell or
No, I think
anything to
it was
comment?
a brilliant experience. Thank you for so many questions. It was awesome and amazing topic suggestions, right? And so I'm going to create a lot of content on these. And awesome, Larry, would looking forward to having you on Clientjoy. Thank you, Albert, for having me.
Okay. So with that, we will say goodbye and good night to everybody in our time zone. In India and Malaysia, in Europe, it's morning.
Yeah.
Bye bye.